This is Ray.
This is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports.
What's up, Ray?
Andy, nice hat.
Thank you very much. Big Game 6 this evening. We're recording this on a Thursday, guys. We're a little late getting to local sports this week. We had to use our regular recording time to accommodate a really big interview with the one of the soon-to-be owners of the Atlantic Schooners, Anthony LeBlanc. And, of course, do our Week 1 CFL preview. So go to our website if you want to check out that interview. But that's why we're a little late getting to this. So it is Thursday, Game 6 tonight. The Raptors have to close it out, Ray. They got to go 3-0 in Oakland somehow, man, because the high pressure of a Game 7 against those sharpshooters, I want nothing to do with it.
Well, listen, we already seen what the pressure of a Game 7 can do to a home team, because last night the St. Louis Blues knocked off the Boston Bruins, Andy, and the tide's starting to turn in New England because Boston teams that have won big championships in the past, that is changing.
Wow. Okay. I see what you did there. Good enough.
Now, some would say that our interview with Anthony LeBlanc was a form of local sports, hopefully.
Yeah, I would think so. Very soon. Very soon. Should be very local.
Do you want to talk some more local sports, though?
Let's do it. Let's talk MFL. Now, again, we're late getting to it, but we got to run through these games because there were some exciting games last week.
There was. The game that we're going to start out with first is the Halifax Harbor Hawks were visiting the Nova Scotia Buccaneers.
Battle of Nova Scotia to finish off the season.
Yep, and we're going to talk about one of these teams later on in the show here. But for now, we're going to talk about the Bucks because I don't have too much information on the Harbor Hawks.
We never have any information on the Harbor Hawks, so
that may change. Harbor Hawks win this game 39-20, Andy.
Yep.
And just some key things I want to throw out from the Bucks side because look at these guys went 0-6 this year, but they did some very positive things in their first year back in the game. Yep. I love this number 7, Van Baden. He puts another 50 yards on rushing this week with a touchdown and 65 yards receiving.
Yep.
That's a great person to have within your personnel of your team for this year and heading into next year. Joe Stuckerless. Do you like that name? Joe Stuckerless?
Yeah. Oh, you have it typed out today. I don't even have to get through your your handwriting.
40-plus yards rushing and 15 yards receiving. So he was very active for the offense as well for the Bucks. Some key players on defense, and wait to hear this one. Cameron Robichaud. 10 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery.
Wow.
That's a big day on defense.
Absolutely.
That's a big day on defense. And then Ryan Schimmel. You've heard me talk about this guy before, Andy. He has 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble.
Wow.
So lots of positive things going on with both teams here, or both offense and defense of the Bucks. And boys, you had a great season for year one back in the season or in the league, and I look forward to seeing what these guys do in the 2020 season.
Way to finish out strong, too, guys. 20 points against a playoff team. Spoiler alert. I mean, good job finishing off strong. So, all right, Ray, we missed a barn burner over on the island.
Yeah.
I think we may have potentially missed the MFL game of the century.
Wow.
At least I'm going to try to make it sound like that. So this was the 3rd annual Terry Allen Memorial Game celebrating the life of Terry Allen. And a very fitting opponent because head coach of the Ducks, Layton Peck, was recently diagnosed with cancer. I was chatting with him before the game. He sent me a nice picture of himself from the bus.
Yeah.
All the boys were in pink. It was great. They got together at the center of the game, had a moment of silence, for everybody battling cancer at the moment.
That's great.
A veteran player of the Mariners came out and did the opening coin toss. So that was awesome. They got going. Let me see if I can get that name for you because apparently my notes are terrible.
Did you see the video of the pregame locker speech?
Of course, I shared it. Yeah,
it was fantastic.
That was awesome.
I
shared it on
jacked
Facebook.
Watching that video. It was great.
Yeah, the player was Jacob Savidant. I hope I'm saying that right. Savidant. Hashtag Savvy Strong. But he was the player that came out and did the coin flip. Now, man, the tail. This was almost like 2 games worked into one, and the turnovers, the Mariners' turnovers, really just were a big part of the first half. Now, The Mariners sent me an amazing breakdown of this game. It was like reading a novel. So I'm gonna try to do this justice for you, Ray, and take you through this game. But the opening kickoff goes through the end zone for a rouge.
Wow.
Right off the bat.
That's a big kick.
So right off the bat, this is a classic game,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So it's 1-0 Ducks at this point. Now, the first 3 offensive possessions for the Mariners result in 2 interceptions in the end zone. At least one of them in the end zone. I think the other one was as well.
Okay.
And a fumbled snap. So 3 turnovers in the first 3 possessions in the end zone.
Wow.
The Ducks ended up scoring and getting a field goal during that. So it's 11-0 Ducks. And then again, the Mariners get another offensive possession, another mishandled snap or something, which leads to an interception. I think on their own 25-yard line.
Yeah.
Ducks take over, punch it in again. It's 18-0 Ducks.
Wow.
All right.
The Ducks are rolling.
Yeah, now, legendary Mariner Dave Clark basically put the team on his back with a minute left of the first half, and they managed to drive down to the goal line. They had 2 attempts on the goal line, and they were stopped short both times, going in 18-0. I was told maybe, just maybe, because we don't like to bash the officials at all on this show, that there may have been a questionable call on one of the stops on the goal line, but we will leave it at that.
Well, listen, when it comes to bashing officials, I'm never a big fan of it unless they're from PEI. Then, I mean, all hands, whatever you want.
All right.
Anything goes.
I'm not going to bash them. I'm just going to say we saw the PEI officials in person, and it's tough to officiate over there. We're going to leave it at that. Now, the Mariners rebound big. Brendan Davis with a touchdown reception. Dave Clark, we talked about him, a touchdown run, and quickly even up the game. Or not even up, but 18-14. They're closing the gap. Brendan Davis, the star receiver, who's also the kicker.
Everything.
Who's also the kicker. Kicks an onside kick and it gets recovered. Immediately after that, he catches a 45-yard bomb, and all of a sudden they're knocking on the door again.
Who threw the pass from the Mariners?
Well, of course it was Petrosky.
Petrosky
throws the pass for the Mariners. Dave Clark, I believe, punches it in again. No, it was a touchdown catch this time from Petrosky.
Okay,
right,
nice.
Yeah, it's 21-18 Mariners. Later on, again, they score. Richard Lush with a carry from fullback position. As we know, Richard Lush plays both sides of the ball at an all-star level.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's 28-18. The Ducks managed to score a rushing touchdown, so it's 28-25. Now, something bizarre happens here, Ray, again, involving the officials.
28-25.
28-25 Mariners.
Okay.
Something bizarre happens with the officials. The Mariners are stopped on 3rd down.
Okay.
And after potentially some discussion, I don't know what goes on, the refs award the Ducks offense the ball without a 4th down ever getting played. Yeah. Now, we both know, we've seen it, the sticks in PEI only go to 3.
They only go to 3.
So, I'm not really sure how you could be, like, you would think the mistake would happen in the other way, where you would think it was 3rd down when it was actually 4th down. Don't know what happened there, but either way, the Ducks take advantage of the ball, getting the ball there, and they actually drive down and score, make it 32-28.
Wow!
Ducks. Enter Coach Miller of the Mariners, who makes potentially the MFL Call of the Year. They're running out of time. They need to do something, and he calls for a flea flicker.
Ooh, the old flea flicker.
Petrosky, well, it sounds to me a little different than flea flickers. Usually flea flickers hand off back to the quarterback. In this case, quarterback has the ball and flicks it to Brendan Davis. Who else, right? Because of course, he's going to get involved. Brendan Davis launches the ball into the end zone, and Clark, who we've already talked about, with 2 receivers draped on him, comes down with the ball in the end zone for the touchdown. It's 35-32. Ducks had a little bit of time left for one final possession, and it didn't happen. So 35-32 Mariners. They take the game in an absolute barn burner. Great job, guys, making this a classic, especially since, the outcome of the game wasn't the biggest thing happening on the field that day with, this being the 3rd annual Terry Allen Memorial Game. I know both teams, they got together at Pizza Delight, PD shout out. They got together at Pizza Light afterwards and socialized. But big shout out to a bunch of players here. Obviously, the offensive juggernauts of the Mariners: Petrosky, Richard Lush, Brennan Davis, running back Dave Clark, who went crazy the whole day. Rookie Drew Bernard, Jaden Reed. On defense for the Mariners, obviously, because they were all over the place. Jamie Gosby, Drew Bernard, D'Angelo Woodside, Kyle Nowlin. On the Duck side, we didn't get a lot of information, though. I talked to Coach Layton Peck just a little while ago, actually. He's going into surgery tomorrow, so Coach Peck, our thoughts are with you. We're hoping everything goes smoothly, and it was great talking to you. He sent me a few pictures, so you'll probably be seeing them on the video somewhere down here.
Yeah.
But the defense with all those picks and turnovers, shout out to all of those guys. I'm sorry I don't have any names for you. And the Mariners lauded the vicious running game of the Ducks for this whole game, which included their quarterback. As we know, that guy, he can carry the ball.
Absolutely.
So shout out to quarterback Jared Laming and the two massive running backs, tough, hard runners, Nick Lignos and Jonathan Marino.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that instant classic. Right?
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what, Andy? That doesn't just sound like a football game. You know what that sounds like?
What's it sound like, right?
It sounds like a movie. Somebody's got to write a script to that game.
There you go.
And let's get a movie out there, and FDS will produce it.
100%.
All right, Andy. Let's move over to a big game.
Okay.
Anytime these two teams meet, you know it's going to be a heck of a ball game. We had the St. John Wanderers into Moncton to take on the Moncton Mustangs.
Yep.
I found out the night before the game that I was going to be working in the Rogers TV booth with the one and only Chris Corey.
Chris with a K.
That's right. So I figured Chris Corey, with his game experience and player experience, that I would be doing play-by-play. Chris would be doing color.
Yeah.
And so I was up practicing till probably 1 a.m, everybody's names, so I wouldn't murder any names throughout the broadcast with Rogers. Get to the stadium, and guess what, Andy?
You're doing color?
I'm doing color.
Wonderful.
Completely throws my game plan off. But it was a fun day from start to finish. This ball game had a lot of crazy things in it, and I'll talk about the plays here in a second. One of the most crazy plays, we had St. John. St. John had a lot of good field position in this game and walked away without any points because the Mustangs defense came to play in this ball game.
As they always do.
They do. They kept the Mustangs offense in this ball game. We had a bizarre play. The Wanderers had the ball down around the 15-yard line, lined up for a field goal, and the punt looks. I called the field goal blocked. It went into the end zone.
Okay.
St. John recovered the ball. Play came to an end. No signal for touchdown. No flags on the play. And then the referees got together and stated that they had to give no yards because on a missed field goal, Andy, it turns into a punt automatically.
Sure.
The only mistake I made on the play is I called it blocked, and blocked means the ball never crosses the line of scrimmage. So it was a touched kick, goes into the end zone, yards have to be given, and that's why Moncton kept that ball on that particular play against the Wanderers. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. When there was a lot of different things we saw in this game, different kinds of plays, but this game got started, Andy, with St. John scoring points. And they were running the ball right from the get-go. They had their all-star running back, number 26, Tyler Curnew, back in the backfield.
Yeah.
And they had Evan Arnold playing more of a fullback position. And he
clearly could do.
Clearly is. And they were running that ball between the tackles. And Curnew picked up yard after yard after yard. In fact, Andy, he ran for 120 yards that day with a touchdown. So he had a big day on the ground.
Yeah.
The first half, it was kind of back and forth. Like I said, Wanderers had lots of scoring opportunities in the first half, but they came out with 7 points. And then later in the second half, Dan Comfort finally looked like he was in the comfort zone, and he hit Akeem White on a 40-yard bomb.
Nice.
And Akeem White took that into the end zone and tied it up 7-7 going into half. Coming out into the third quarter, St. John Wanderers, they again were pounding the ball down the field, got down to the 1 yard line, and Evan Arnold came in and plowed it into the end zone.
There's no stopping them there.
Gave the Wanderers a lead of 14-7. Dan Comfort comes back downfield again, hits Akeem White for the second time in the day, and makes it 14-13. And then something bizarre happened, Andy.
Bizarre.
Bizarre.
Right, let's hear it.
On the broadcast, I thought I'd have a little fun, and I was telling Chris Corey how important the long snapper is on an extra point in a football game, or on a convert.
What do you mean having a little fun?
I was talking.
It's 100% true.
I know, but I wanted to give our buddy Denny Dwaron even more props on the Rogers television, saying how important it is to be a long snapper.
Okay.
And you'll see in this video below here, Andy, I may have jinxed Denny Dwaron with my comments on Rogers television.
Uh-oh.
Because after this failed attempt, it remained 14-13.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm not ready to blame Denny 100% on this. The holder has to get control of that ball and get it down for the kicker, and he didn't look like he did a great job at that. So I'm not ready to say it's 100% Denny's fault. Does he deserve Special Teams Player of the Week? Probably. But we'll have to wait and see what the Mustangs think.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 14-13. St. John comes down, pounds the ball downfield again, and the same thing as last time. They get it to the 1, and Evan Arnold takes it in for a touchdown again, making the score 21-13. We get into the late minutes of the fourth quarter, and this is where things get a little bizarre. Okay. Even more bizarre than what I said earlier.
Man, we've used the adjective bizarre an awful lot in this.
Wild. Let's go to wild.
Okay. Wild.
St. John kicks off to the Mustangs. Again, they're up 21-13. Akeem White returns the ball along the sideline of the benches, gets through a hole, and next thing you know, he's on his way to the end zone, and around the 20-yard line, he decides to hold the ball out, taunting the defense, and the referee throws the flag on it. Now, the Mustangs needed a touchdown and 2-point conversion to tie this game up.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, that convert that would have been at the 5, it's a 10-yard penalty. It goes to the 15-yard line. No convert on the play. Or no convert was scored. So it's now 21-19. The Mustangs come out. They run a short kick. Mustangs recover the kick.
Okay.
And I don't know what was said from the Mustangs bench. Something took place between the Mustangs bench and the officiating crew because a flag was thrown for an objectionable conduct on the bench, taking the ball to the Mustangs 50 of the field versus being on the St. John Wanderers side of the field. But guess what? Dan Comfort does what every quarterback needs to do. He leads his team right downfield. He was really looking in the comfort zone, Andy. Definitely in the comfort zone. And he hit Brady Newcomb in the end zone, puts 2 points on the board with a run by Aubrey Ellis to make this game 27-21. Mustangs line up for the kickoff again, kick the ball off, recover the ball, but 0 seconds ends up on the clock. Game's over. Mustangs win this game 27-21, but
6 points is below the magic number.
They needed 28-21 in order to be hosting the Maritime Bowl this year. So because of that, they won the game against a very important team. They needed to win this game against the Wanderers, but now they are the second seed in the playoffs, and they will be hosting the Halifax Harbor Hawks on Saturday at 5:30 at Rocky Stone Field. Versus St. John, they're hosting the Island Mariners at 2 p.m. at UMB St. John in St. John.
Well, the way you laid that game out for me, Ray, it definitely, it's very easy to point to those two bonehead penalties as the reason why they weren't able to win by the amount they needed to take over first place. Nothing drives me more crazy than when the referees manage to impact the outcome of the game. Now, in a situation where they didn't impact whether or not there was a win or a loss, but it came down to the numbers, I'll take a little bit of edge off of that. But nothing drives me crazier than when they impact the outcome of the game. But you know what's worse is when you give them a reason to.
Yeah.
There's no, so you know you're going to get a penalty for taunting. Now, listen, that kid was having a huge game, obviously.
He did.
And you know, he was a little excited, and your emotions can get away from you. And I'm sure that's all it was. So just, you got to keep that under control. And whatever was said on the bench, I mean, my gosh, we've sat between the benches and heard the things that are said, and you know, you got to watch out. Some of those refs have a short fuse. Some of them have thinner skin than others.
Yep.
Not all of them can sit and take softballs off the back of the head the whole day, like Ray here. So anyway,
thick skin.
It is what it is. But listen, great job, W. Ray and Chris with a K up top. Listen, I want you to write that down. That's a little tagline for you guys for Rogers. And looking forward to the playoffs.
It was a great game. Dan Comfort threw for 3 touchdowns, Andy. And I'll tell you, the quarterback for St. John's, Sean Galbraith, he threw for 135 yards. He looked cool and calm in the pocket all day, finding his receivers downfield. We got a first round of the playoffs to go. Go through first. Yeah. But if these two teams do end up in the final again this year, that's going to be a real exciting ball game.
Well, and if that does happen, and again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because anything can happen.
Anything can happen in playoffs.
In a football game. But if that does happen again, it's refreshing to me that, the last 2 years aren't repeating themselves. As you know, they faced each other in the finals for 2 years, and each time one of the teams was undefeated in the regular season. Yeah. We do not have that scenario this year. So I think that'll be good luck for both of them, perhaps. Yeah.
One last thing I want to talk about before I get out of here. I played in a match play golf event yesterday against Jamie Drysdale, formerly of the Moncton Mustangs.
And I hear also the reason why the Mustangs didn't win the title last year, actually.
Exactly.
That's what Jamie Drysdale says anyways.
And I'd love to give you guys an update on that particular match. But guess what, Andy?
What's that, Ray?
We're out of time.
We are out of time.
We're out of time. That's all we got for local sports this week.
Yeah, let's get out of here. All right. We'll see. We hope to see you guys on the weekend, at the very least at the Mustangs game. So,
good luck in the playoffs, boys.
Take care.